Brothers and sisters, good evening. My name is Joseph Geevarghese, and I'm the executive director of Our Revolution, the progressive political action group that was started by Bernie Sanders. Our Revolution members across the country stand in solidarity with everybody in this room and everybody who's watching online as we fight for a future where corporations can no longer pillage and plunder our planet. But we got to remember this. As we fight for our future, we need to remember our past. Today, progressive members of Congress, led by U.S. Representative Pramila Jayapal and U.S. Senator Jeff Merkley, introduced a resolution to designate December 3rd as National Chemical Disaster Awareness Day, so we don't forget the worst industrial accident in the history of the world. 40 years ago today, on December 3rd, 1984, the Union Carbide pesticide plant in Bhopal, India, released 40 tons of toxic gas into the air. It killed thousands overnight, and it left over 500,000 people injured. As a child, I remember being horrified by the scenes on TV, and I remember my parents worrying about whether our friends and family were among those harmed. This mass casualty event left its victims burned, blinded, poisoned, and plagued by chronic disease. And even now, their children and their children's children continue to birth babies who are disfigured and suffer illness. Even today, the soil and water in Bhopal are toxic. 40 years later, the death toll stands at 25,000 souls. And that number ticks up every single day. The victims, who are supported by the International Campaign for Justice in Bhopal, have spent decades demanding accountability. But the justice they seek has been thwarted by corporate powers and their government enablers. U.S. presidents from Ronald Reagan to Donald Trump to Joe Biden have shielded Union Carbide and its parent company, Dow Chemical, from prosecution. And even worse, Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister of India, has allowed Dow Chemical to expand its business footprint all across India. This is unacceptable. The truth is that Bhopal was more than a disaster. It was a crime against humanity. It was a crime born of corporate negligence and government greed. It's a crime that is intergenerational. It travels through time, and it reminds us why it is critical to hold polluters accountable. Bhopal wasn't an isolated incident. It was really a warning about our future. Think about the toxic train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio, or the hundreds of hazardous chemical incidents that happen every year, at least one a day in the United States. These disasters disproportionately harm low-income communities and people of color, the very people who lack the resources and the power to hold corporations and government accountable. And I want to be clear, these incidents are not accidents. The ongoing poisoning of our planet is the direct result of decisions made in boardrooms and rubber stamped by politicians who put polluter profits over public health. Brothers and sisters, it's time for us as citizens, as activists, to send a clear message to corporations. If you poison our air, if you poison our soil, if you poison our water, and if you destroy our future, you will be held to account. Whether it's Dow Chemical refusing to answer for the crime in Bhopal, or ExxonMobil continuing to lie about climate change, the days of letting corporate America off the hook has to end. And brothers and sisters, as we remember the victims of Bhopal in our hearts, let's honor the survivors right now by fighting for a world where chemical disasters like this are not allowed to happen again. And one way you can help in this fight right now is by asking your member of Congress to co-sponsor the resolution that was introduced today. For more information, you can go to bhopal.net. That's BHOPAL.net. That's the website of the International Campaign for Justice in Bhopal. And once you're there, click the call to action link, and that'll guide you on the script to call your member of Congress. Brothers and sisters, this isn't just about accountability for the past. This is about fighting for the future that we want to create. Bhopal should have been a turning point. And even 40 years later, we, the people, can make sure that December 3rd is always remembered as Chemical Disaster Awareness Day. Thank you.